Hi, today we will study about Prandtl's theory of bearing capacity. Prandtl has shown that when a continuous footing with a smooth base rests on a weightless soil which possesses cohesion and friction angle, it will sink into the soil that fails by punching shear. That means here we can see a footing which is continuous and has got very smooth base, and this footing is resting on a soil which is considered to be weightless. That means its weight is equal to 0. And it is also assumed that the soil is possessing cohesion value C and angle of internal friction phi. So once this continuous footing is placed on this soil, it will sink into the soil by punching, and hence the failure is referred to as punching shear failure. Prandtl in 1920 proposed his theory of bearing capacity based on his study of penetration or punching of long hard metal puncture into a softer material. He observed that the hard metal punched into the softer material, and the same theory he used in order to even define the theory of bearing capacity. So here the hard metal puncture is referred to as stiff footing and the softer material is referred to as ground surface. So when the stiff footing with the smooth base rests on the soil, it would sink vertically in downward direction when placed on ground surface. There are certain assumptions made by Prandtl. Those are: the material is softer, homogeneous and isotropic. That means the soil is referred to as soft and it is homogeneous as well as isotropic. The material is weightless, that means its weight is equal to 0. As weight is equal to 0, unit weight gamma will also be equal to 0, as gamma is equal to weight by volume. So if W is equal to 0, gamma will also be equal to 0. But the soil is referred to as the C5 soil, that means it would have cohesion and friction. The problem is two-dimensional, that means two directions would be considered, maybe X and Y directions. The base of the puncture is smooth, that is the base of the footing is considered to be smooth, not rough. The material behaves as a rigid body, that means the soil is referred to as rigid, and the volume change will be 0. The resulting deformation which would occur due to punching of the footing into the soil will be a plastic deformation. That means it will be a irreversible deformation. The uniform vertical load applied to an infinitely long strip of width B. So here in the figure we can see a stiff footing which is having width B, but it is infinitely long. Now we will find out what is the difference between elastic and plastic equilibrium. We know that when the rubber band is stretched and when the force is removed, it will come back to its original form. But whereas in plastic equilibrium, the object will not return to its original form, it will undergo permanent change when it is stressed. An example of plastic equilibrium is landmass filling. The mechanism of failure of soil under plastic equilibrium are: the failure occurs along definite slip surfaces and symmetrical with respect to the center line of the puncture or footing in case of soil for symmetrical vertical loading. So here we can see that there is the load which is acting in vertical direction from this stiff footing, And due to this loading, there will be slip surfaces which will be observed over here, which can be seen. And these slip surfaces are symmetrical with respect to the center line of the footing. And those slip surfaces can be seen here, that is CFG and CDE. Under ultimate load, that is the Q ultimate, which acts on the footing of width B, we can see a triangular wedge of the soil which is formed and is enclosed between points A, B, C. So A, B, C is the triangular wedge of the soil which will be formed below the footing, and this will be pushed down as a rigid body, and the stresses on ABC will be usually in active stage. With frequent downward movement of the wedge, that is ABC, the soil mass on the left hand side and also on the right hand side will be pushed in outward and upward direction. The failure takes place along the slip surfaces shown by the points B, C, D, E, and on the left hand side it is A, C, F, G. These surfaces comprise of triangular wedge, that is A, F, G and B, D, E. So two triangular wedges are formed on the left and right side, and also there will be sectors which will be formed and are shown by the points A, C, F and B, C, D. So these two are the sectors. The mass of soil will be in plastic state above the failure surface, and soil below will be in elastic state. The failure surfaces can be divided into three zones, that is 1, 2 and 3. So this zone is zone number 1, which is in active state, enclosed between the points A, B, C, which is a triangular wedge. Zone 2, which is enclosed between points A, C, F and B, C, D, is in radial shear, whereas zone 3, which is enclosed between points A, F, G and B, D, E, will be in plastic state. The lower boundaries of zone 2 are parts of logarithmic spirals with their poles coinciding with the corresponding edge of the footing, that is A and B. So here we can see that the lower boundary of the zone 2, that is CF and CD, are logarithmic spirals with their poles coinciding with the corresponding edges of the footing, that is A and B. The straight lines D, E and F, G are tangential to spirals at point D and F, and these straight lines meet the horizontal surface at angle equal to alpha on both the sides. So here we can see angle alpha on left portion, and alpha is the angle made by the line DE with respect to the horizontal surface, and this alpha is equal to 45 degree minus phi by 2, where phi is the angle of internal friction of the soil. By considering the shape of failure surface of zone 2 as a logarithmic spiral, which we saw here in the diagram, that is CD and CF considered to be logarithmic spiral, Prandtl gave the following equation in order to find ultimate bearing capacity based on theory of plasticity. So for C5 soil, Q ultimate is given by equation C into NC. where C is the cohesion value, and NC can be found out using equation 1 divided by tan phi into tan square multiplied by 45 plus phi by 2 into e raised to pi into tan phi minus 1. So if we know the value of angle of internal friction phi, we will be able to find NC. So once we find NC and if we know the value of C, we will be able to get the ultimate bearing capacity of the soil. So here, in order to find bearing capacity using Prandtl equation, we need the value of C and phi. For a purely cohesive soil where phi is equal to 0, the logarithmic spiral becomes a circular arm, and the ultimate bearing capacity is given as Q ultimate equal to pi plus 2 into Cu, where Cu is undrained cohesion, which can be written as equal to 5.14 into Cu. So here, when phi becomes equal to 0, the logarithmic spiral which we saw here in the diagram, so this logarithmic spiral, that is CD and CF, becomes the circular arc. So for circular arc, the equation is modified as Q ultimate equal to pi plus 2 into Cu, and hence we will be able to calculate the value of ultimate bearing capacity using equation 5.14 into Cu. Now we will study about Skempton's theory of bearing capacity. He observed that the value of NC increases with the increase in depth to width ratio of the footing. The net ultimate bearing capacity for saturated cohesive soil under undrained condition as per Skempton's theory can be given as QNU, that is net ultimate bearing capacity, equal to Cu into Nc, where QNU is the net ultimate bearing capacity, Cu is undrained cohesion, Nc is the Skempton's bearing capacity factor. Now here various equations are shown in order to find Nc for different shape of the footing. For stiff footing, Nc is equal to 5 into 1 plus 0.2 into d by b, where d is depth of foundation and b is width of the foundation. If the footing is of square or circular shape, then Nc is equal to 6 into 1 plus 0.2 into d by b. For rectangular footing, we have got two equations based on d by b ratio. If d by b ratio is less than or equal to 2.5, Nc is equal to 5 into 1 plus 0.2 into d by b multiplied by 1 plus 0.2 into b by L. Whereas if d by b is greater than 2.5, Nc is equal to 7.5 into 1 plus 0.2 into b by L. Terzaghiy's value of Nc is applicable only for shallow foundation when the d by b ratio is less than or equal to 1. But the Skempton value of Nc can be used for all the values of d by b. Now here from this graph we can see that we will be able to obtain the bearing capacity factor value Nc based on the d by b value for stiff footing and for circular or square footing. On x-axis, d by b values are plotted, that is from 0 to 5, and on y-axis, bearing capacity values, that is Nc values, are shown from 2 to 10. Now if we know that the d by b ratio is equal to 2 and if the footing is stripped, then we will be able to get the corresponding value of Nc as 7.1. This is the reference. Thank you.